to be here. This was unexpected. Everything about this remote view is unexpected, including how I was able to access the information and some other really important impacts that Elon Musk is going to make in his lifetime for planet Earth. So we're going to talk about all of those predictions, where he's at now. It's really interesting. I'm personally very interested in who he is because I do think he is one of our more brilliant minds in our lifetime. However, he has a lot of power, and when people have a lot of power, things can go really wrong really quickly. So we're going to break all of that down today and really explore. If there is someone that you want me to remote view that I haven't yet talked about, please go ahead and comment below this video. If you want to see more really interesting videos about other people I have remote viewed and just other things in general, I have over 1,000 videos on my website, so go please check that out. If you have other topics that you want to add in for future videos, then go over to my website, click on the forum, and we have video suggestions. This is actually where I got this video. There were multiple people all asking me to remote view Elon Musk. So here it is. And once again, I'm just as curious. And then, yeah, just a couple of housekeeping items. We've got the very last Galactic Federation event coming up December 11th. We are going to be rounding out this year with takeaways, tools. Are we on the right path? Are we aligned? Anything we need to know for 2025 and so much more. And then coming up on December 21st, I have my annual event. It is called the Cosmic Gateway event. If you want a space where you can cut cords and clear all of the energy from this past year, and I think we all need to do that right now. And if you want to be held in a space where you can really manifest what you want for 2025, the Cosmic Gateway event is exactly that. We're cutting cords with the old year and we're manifesting for the new year. I looked back at my own Cosmic Gateway for 2024 and it was incredible. So, and that happened last December 2023. Everything I asked for came into fruition, and now I know why my life has been so difficult this year, because I asked for it. So please go check out the Cosmic Gateway, and right now we still have a 25% off sale, everything. So that's $22 minus 25%. It's a pretty good deal. So first of all, who is Elon Musk? I don't think I really have to introduce him. Some of his notable projects have been PayPal, SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, OpenAI, and X, but there's so many other things that he's doing. He's very interested in the advancement of technology. He's also very interested in renewable resources. He's just a very interesting guy, but especially driven with technology and also driven with trying to get us off planet Earth and to colonize Mars and a bunch of really crazy ideas for the time. Take it or leave it. He's a very controversial figure because he's not necessarily a very likable person. He's definitely on the spectrum. I don't know if he's ever been tested, that if he's neurodivergent and if that's been confirmed, but I love all of my neurodivergent individuals in my life, and it's very clear that he's somewhere on that spectrum. Okay, so why do we need to talk about him today? Obviously, he is the richest man in the world right now, and with money comes power and responsibility. And I think for me and for all of you, like, do we trust him? What side is he really playing? Is he a good guy or a bad guy? Like, that's really what it comes down to. And I think that no matter what the information is today, I think take everything with a grain of salt, always question it. And the interesting thing is we have free will. So he can make certain decisions at any point in his life and really change his trajectory, right? So that's also something to keep in mind for today's information and predictions. Okay, so I want to just mention how I remote view or how I came to the conclusions that I did today so that you better understand my process. And then we'll go right into all of the information that I received, which is a lot and very surprising. So my remote viewing comes through as a visual. So yeah, it's a visual. I don't know how else to say that. So I went to go to him in particular to see where he was, and then I'm unable to gain access to anyone's information without permission. I'm sure if I hunted around a little bit, I could gain access to information without permission, but I have very high moral standards when it comes to this. I also believe that everything that goes around comes around. So I'm just very astute when it comes to integrity and morality when looking into information. So I usually go to an individual's higher self. If I can't talk to them and ask them directly for permission, I'll go to their higher self to ask for permission. What was so fascinating that I've never before experienced with remote viewing anyone, and remember, I've remote viewed Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Taylor Swift, with none of them. I have ever seen this. That was like terrible English, but whatever. So when I was taking a look at Elon Musk's information, I kept hopping into the collective timelines. What's fascinating about that is I wasn't exactly just looking at him and his own trajectory, which is what I've done for other influential figures. Every time I kept looking at his information, it was about what are the ways that he's going to impact humanity. So I ended up looking more at the collective contracts for the planet than just him. And in that way, I sort of bypassed, I did still get permission from his higher self, but I didn't have to actually, I wasn't up against his own blocks, if that makes sense, or his own sort of specific information. I don't know. It's just fascinating. I've never done that before. And that goes to show how influential he is for the entire planet because he was rooted in the contracts for the planet. I don't know. It was fascinating. All right. So the first thing I pick up on are the layers of protection. And the other thing too was that there were quite a few individual energies around his being, but because he had all of these layers of protection, and I don't even know if I want to call them layers of protection, let's just call them like auric or energetic layers around his physical body. It seemed like it was anything from entities to remote viewers. It just seemed like there was a small crowd around him at all times, trying to sort of sneak their way or get their way through these layers, and they couldn't, and neither could I. So that was really fascinating right off the hop. I'm not surprised by that because someone of his magnitude, he's going to be up against both the light and the dark energies, not just physically, but metaphysically. So the other thing, the second thing I picked up on is that this is indeed his first time on planet Earth. And I know there has been speculation about him being the reincarnation of Nikola Tesla and potentially other reincarnations as well. From what I saw, I have never seen him as a human being on planet Earth. This is his very first time. I do believe upon remote viewing these galactic volunteers that a lot of them happen to be neurodivergent, which is just a fascinating connection that consciousness who are not used to being in a human body come into the human body and their souls are at such a vibration that they end up rewiring the hardwiring of the brain. They don't think the same way. They don't process the same way. They don't socialize. They don't interact the same way, which is, once again, can be a good or a bad thing. Very fascinating. I also just picked up on the fact that he's part of the cleanup crew, and we'll talk about his soul mission in a bit, but yeah, it was just sort of funny the way it came through. The cleanup crew of the old Earth. It's like, okay, at the point in time when he contracted to be born on planet Earth, it was what what has planet Earth not done? And what do I need to push planet Earth into doing? So no matter what, it's like we have certain collective contracts we need to align to. especially if we want to have full galactic disclosure, full cosmic disclosure. Before we get there, we need certain technological advancements. And he basically decided to come in at this time to say, all right, if you haven't done these things, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the slack. And if we think about Nikola Tesla and what he was doing with free energy technology and a lot of other things, even Da Vinci and all of his inventions that never came into fruition, it seems like Elon Musk is sort of coming in and pushing some of these things, not all of them, but some of the things through, which is fascinating. Okay. Yes. So I did get a confirmation. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that he is a good guy. So we're going to get there. But I did get a very clear confirmation that his soul, okay, once again, first time being embodied as a human being, and before that, he was off planet. So he is a galactic soul. You could call him a star seed, even though that's such a, I don't know, it's a woo-woo word. But he's definitely a galactic volunteer, and it was very clear that he was originally recruited by the Galactic Federation, and he decided to come here from that organization. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that because the origins of his contracts were rooted in advancement and helping the planet, it doesn't necessarily mean that he is going to stick with the plan. And I know, Jeff, you just sent a super chat saying he's a bad guy. And I get it. Like, I'm very neutral about sort of his position. This is just the information that came through. So what is his sole mission? Like, what, he is such an impactful player. Why is he here? And the word that came through when I was taking a look at his soul mission is advance or advancement. It is very clear that his soul mission is to advance humanity. Okay. I know it's sort of general, but that a lot of the time soul missions are pretty general. So that we can fit in whatever we need to underneath that soul mission. So once again, his soul mission is to advance us. Like I said, general, but it came through quite strongly. Now, at a personal level, at more of a human level, it was very clear that he is battling a lot of ego. It's very clear that he has not done the work on himself in the way that he should. He's always been mission driven, and he has not really done a whole lot on, not, I don't want to say like the spiritual aspect of it, but yeah, he just hasn't really done a lot of work on himself. And this is where he can be very immature and also very like egotistical or self-centered. And that can come through quite a bit. And that really came through as his biggest downfall is his ego, is just one of the things is like not really being aware and responsible enough for the type of power and control he is wielding. It's almost like he stumbled into this, even though he was prepped long before he came to planet Earth. He stumbled into this and he just doesn't have the foundations that's needed in order to be as responsible as he needs to be. And I think he comes across as that a lot in a lot of ways, right? Like a kid in a candy shop. And that is really scary. It's very scary because he does have a lot of power. So that came through very clearly that like his ego, his identity just isn't as neutral, as developed, as responsible as it really needs to be. I did see that he is very committed to sovereignty. So one of the things that I asked is, which side is he playing right now? Who is he playing for? And it feels like, what came through very clearly is this word sovereignty. And it's not necessarily like sovereignty for humanity. It's more like self-sovereignty. So even though he is very egotistical and comes across as a child and not as responsible or like level-headed, he's very much so like unmoving and very stubborn when it comes down to his direction, which once again could very easily be his downfall if he does something more corrupted or out of alignment for the betterment of humanity. However, it is a huge positive because he cannot be convinced or corrupted. Like, say, for example, if the shadow government came up to him and said, hey, we'll give you fame and fortune and riches and influence if you join our side, he's going to say no. And as a matter of fact, I've seen him say no in his contracts in the past. He cannot be swayed by anything because he's got this sense of sovereignty. All right, so that's good. So it was very clear that he got to this place on his own. And like I said, he's got soul contracts that are helping him get and advance himself to help advance humanity, because his contracts are very clearly tied with humanity's contracts. But it was extremely relevant and clear that he did not do any sort of ritual or sacrifice or sign contracts with the shadow government to get to where he is. That was extraordinarily clear, okay? Like I said, take it or leave it. I know that it's just controversial, but this is just what I saw. That part was extremely clear. He is committed to his mission, above all, to advance humanity. Once again, could be a bad, could be a good thing. We'll have to take a look. I did see, which was fascinating, when I was sort of taking a look at more of the personal side of him, I did see that he's going to really anchor into a spiritual path, full of more so like meditation, inner work, and a lot of quantum mechanics, which I am so excited for. Can you imagine that guy getting behind quantum mechanics and quantum physics and advancing us, or deep diving, or funding some of that? I think that that's going to be really exciting. And I saw him getting into that in his 60s. Okay, so we might still be about a decade away from him sort of steering into more of a responsible path of like inward looking meditation, just the consciousness aspect of it. It's almost like he's going to grow up at that time, right? And then that also, it's like consciousness and quantum are interlinked, and that looked like it was going to happen in his 60s. Now, this is also fascinating. When I was taking a look at his involvement in either the White Hat Alliance or the Collective, as they like to be called, or the sort of the shadow government, I see him playing both sides. And this is something that I gained access to about a year ago in a Q&A that I had with my membership. Who is Elon Musk? What side is he playing for? And back then he was undecided. He did not choose a side back then, a year ago. And now it seems like he's sort of playing the field, and there's an emphasis on the word playing. I actually really saw, and it's dangerous. And this is why I feel like he's like childlike in this way, and he's just not as like aware of, what did I say here? Yeah, doesn't take the dark side as serious as he should, really, because they do keep trying to influence him. They do keep trying to get close to him. They do keep trying to sort of lure him in, and they don't have any chips against him. They have nothing. You want fame, you want fortune, you want access to tech. Nothing can bring him over to that side, but they keep trying. And they've even tried like through love and romance and relationships, and he's just not interested. But the thing is that I see about him is that he kind of plays with them. He kind of like jokes with them. He kind of, I don't know, there's like this like sort of like a lighthearted but comical. And once again, he does not take them as seriously as he should. Yeah. And then the other part of that is the only reason why they, the dark side, have not taken him out, because he's not a puppet for them, but he's got power, which is a threat to them. The only reason why they haven't taken him out is because he, I don't know if entertains them is the right word, but he plays around with them. And because of that, they think that they can still sway him. They believe that they can still get him on their side. However, that tactic, whether it be conscious or subconscious, or dumb or brilliant, it's keeping him alive. Like, they haven't really sort of attempted to take him out because he's too big of a bargaining chip. If they can influence him, if they can get to him, then That's it. Like that's really all they need to fully corrupt and take over society is to get to him. So yeah, okay. So I'll leave it there. And then what else did I say? Yeah. So then I had to ask, is he communicating with the collective? Is he not the collective? Like, if you saw the White Hat Alliance, they like to be called the collective, but is he communicating with the White Hats? And the answer is yes. He is actively a part of White Hat Alliance meetings. So that was really cool to get that confirmation. Once again, he doesn't really feel a part of that organization. He just goes, he gets the information he needs. They get information from him. It almost feels like he's like a contractor for the White Hat Alliance rather than a part of the team. And of course, they want to bring him in more, but he's not interested. This whole self-sovereignty piece that he's really all about, I don't know, it's like, is it his greatest asset or his greatest downfall? And you add that with ego, I don't know. It's just fascinating. So it's like, has he chosen a side? Not really. He's sort of on his own side. The other question I had to ask is he aware of the Galactic Federation? Is he aware of being a part of that organization? And the answer came through pretty clearly as no. He is not aware of his galactic origins. He's definitely not aware of the Galactic Federation. He would probably laugh at the concept if it was ever presented to him. And essentially, the information was he's not ready for that yet. When he gets into more of his like spiritual consciousness, quantum physics type era, that's when it feels like there's going to be the internal disclosure. And it also seemed like at that point in time, he's going to be talking about, I know something no one knows, right? Like he's going to be sort of alluding to that, that there is a huge organization of extraterrestrials, but his ego is getting in the way of even getting to that point. So that was fascinating. Okay, and then, I will say that with the Galactic Federation or this organization of benevolent beings, they're monitoring him closely. So if he were to sort of go off path, because he's so deeply tied and entangled with the collective's path, like the collective humanity path, they're monitoring him and his decisions very closely, which gives me a little bit of reprieve. And then I asked, will he get off path? Like, will he go off of his path and just totally derail us? And the information that came back was not likely. And then the other thing I had to ask specifically was AI. I am so concerned about AI, and he's got Neuralink, and he's got these robots that are humanoid, and I'm like, come on, this is the beginning of every sci-fi world-ending destruction, apocalyptic movie we've ever seen. So what is going on here? This is going to be a bit controversial, so take it or leave it as always. But essentially, it was very clear that he, I don't know, energetically or consciously, is deciding that it's important for him to dominate the AI market, or at least the AI robotic market, for the reason of closely monitoring it. Because I know he's talked about it before, but who knows if he's serious or if he's got nefarious intentions. You don't know. Someone with that amount of power. And it seemed like he wanted to specifically dominate the market to control it, to ensure that this doesn't happen. So he is authentically, internally, contractually, but also just consciously aware of, I'm doing this to dominate the market to try and avoid that as our fate. So yeah, he has mentioned that, but I do see authentically, internally, that is also something that he's living by. Once again, take it or leave it, right? Like, you can believe what you want. This is all just fascinating information. Okay. And then two interesting things that I saw later down the line. One, when Elon Musk is in his, it seemed like late 70s, early 80s, and it's surprising that he is going to live that long being such an influential figure that he is. Like I said, things can and do happen, and timelines can and do shift. But I did see that he is going to invent or create or fund companies that create or invent cryogenic chambers, which is so crazy. I wasn't even asking about that, but it came up in his energy as something that he was going to foster and create and bring into our reality in our lifetime. And the reason why is because he wants to preserve himself for potentially a time where he can come back. Or like, I don't know, they like solve aging or something. So that was fascinating. I'm like, okay, random tidbit of information. And then also what came through that I wasn't expecting. Can you hear me? Am I frozen? No. Can you guys hear me? Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm frozen on my end. All right. So you can hear me. All right. Weird. We hear you, but no image. This is bizarre. All right, I'm just gonna finish off because I'm right at the end. I'm like sweating now. Okay. Last but not least, anti-gravity devices. It seems like he's going to be huge in fostering anti-gravity vehicles, anti-gravity in general. But specifically in the line of anti-gravity vehicles, and that seems like that could be 10 to 20 years down the line. Okay, and that's pretty much it for me. I am so sorry about this weird tech glitch. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, like it, share it to people who are also interested in Elon Musk, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But better yet, hop on over to my website, elizabethapril.com. Check out thousands of videos that I have there, and so much other really cool shit that I've got going on. And right now we've got a 25% off everything sale. So definitely, if you're curious, this is the time to take advantage of our biggest sale all year. I love you guys so much. I wish you could see me, but that's okay. Yeah, I will see all of you in the highest possible timeline. Bye for now.